All right, I'm chewing. Right now, I'm not interested in my keto diet that I'm supposed to be on. Cream cheese with onions and chives in it. It's good right now. Anyway, because my butt hurts. So I'm comfort fooding and that feels good. That tastes good right now. Um, yeah, so last night was the second day of the mentorship with Phil Gruber. Excellent as always. Excellent as always. We're meeting once a week on Zoom to go over some stuff. Last week, we went over several different things, some done mantras and techniques, things like that. One of the techniques is supposed to help clear out inorganic matter, help block negative influences, that kind of thing. Same time we did that first one, I started working on it and practicing that particular one. Got a staph infection. A little thing started appearing at the just to the left of my tailbone. So it's just a little below, maybe at the same level, but and to the left of my tailbone down here. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And this morning, our family nurse practitioner we go to, she opens at 6:30 in the morning. So we called about 6:30 this morning. She worked us in, so we were in there by 7 this morning. Sure enough, it's a big old staph infection, draining, pus, everything coming out of it. And so I am now on a month-long regimen of antibiotics. Oh yeah, this thing is full. Lovely, just lovely. So my butt hurts from staph infection. I wanted to get down to the river today. Even with that, still want to go down to the river and do some work. But my wife's car battery died yesterday for some reason, just drained. It's a brand new 2020 Toyota Camry. Battery was drained, completely drained. And don't know why. I even went up to some of the auto parts stores. They don't even have the batteries in yet for 2020s because this shouldn't happen. It shouldn't drain like that and just be dead. And so I charged the battery overnight last night and it cranked after I charged the battery and drove it up to the dealership and let them check it out. They're like, well, faulty battery, or they said maybe it needs a software update or something along those lines. Okay, back from picking up the car, same day. It was under full warranty for everything, new battery they installed. And what they're telling us is that the 2020 Camrys had a software glitch in it that caused the battery to drain. And there was a factory update for the software that fixed that problem. And it could only be installed at the dealership. So I'm thinking, I have an idea. Maybe you should tell your customers that before they get stranded somewhere other than at their own home. Like we got lucky, died in our driveway. So maybe you could tell your other customers. Yeah, I think it's going. Phil asked me last night during the mentoring, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, and obviously I'm doing fine because everything's fine. You deal with what happens. Just deal with it. It's just life, just stuff. It's just stuff anyway. So, just stuff. But several things that just made me think about that. It's like, and I had a weird dream last night. 2 weird dreams last night, and one of the dreams was really kind of a negative dream. Actually, both of them were kind of weird negative dreams. The first one was real intense, and it was like me being on the criminal side of life kind of thing, using some of my weirdness and talents for criminal activities. And it's like, it felt like something was trying to convince me to go that route. And it's just like, no. And it was trying to make it look glamorous and, fun and good. And it's like, no. So I tried that technique last night. It's about 2:30 in the morning. About 2:30 in the morning, I woke up with this dream. And it's like, I'm going to use this technique. Got to block these negative influences. So I used this epsilon technique. They went over in the first mentoring session, and it seemed to work and help and do that. The first mentoring session that Phil went over, one of the other things he gave me some information on the solar plexus and how integral that is. One of the things I read in there, it's kind of neat, talking about, crackers stuck in my throat. And it was like, if you take a blow to the solar plexus, it can really mess things up. It could even kill you. I'm like, and you might develop diseases from a sharp, sudden impact to the solar plexus right there. Just right here in the center of your chest, right here. And you could develop cancers and disease. And I started thinking back, wait a minute. I had that wreck in that vending truck. I even posted a video on it. I even posted a video showing the wreck itself because it was caught on camera. And it wasn't my fault, but it was caught on camera. And I went and got an x-ray because my chest was hurting. Right here in the solar plexus was hurting really bad. The sternum area, the solar plexus sternum, was hurting. So I went and got x-rays and they said, no, it's not broke. No, there's no fracture. Okay, no big deal. And then after that sudden impact to the solar plexus area, I developed cancer. I said, well, that's interesting. That paper that I was reading about it talked about that. And it's like, well, that did happen to me. Okay, yeah, that happened. Okay, got cancer. Yay. Over now. But, okay, that was interesting. The funny thing, too, at that point was when I went for the, is it nuclear imaging? The nuclear imaging for the bones, just to see if the cancer had spread from the prostate everywhere else. And it didn't spread. It showed the prostate there like it's supposed to. But the thing that showed up was my sternum, the solar plexus area, just lit up. And, you know, the technician's like, what happened? Did your sternum break or something? Or what happened here? Something weird is showing up on your sternum area, my solar plexus. It was just lit up. And I said, I did have that impact. No, the airbag did not go off. It should have, but it didn't. I imagine I hit the steering wheel there. But I said I had x-rays and they said it wasn't broken, no fractures, no anything. And she still was a little weirded out. I left the room and actually came back. And she was on the line with the x-ray people because I overheard some of the conversation, trying to talk to them. And I think this confused her. And looking back now, it's like, it's not that the solar plexus was lit up just a little bit. It was bright, like the size of a fist lit up. It wasn't a small piece of a solar plexus lit up. It was huge, just a bright light right there in the solar plexus. I'm like, that's kind of funny. It's just really weird looking. My sister was concerned, my youngest sister, so I sent her a copy of the imaging that they did for that nuclear resonance imaging, whatever they do. And she had a friend who's a radiation type person in the medical field, so she sent it to him. He looked it up and he had the same questions, like what's going on there in the chest, because it seemed out of place, more out of place. And I just thought it was kind of funny thinking back. He's talking about the solar plexus and all this, and even on the nuclear magnetic imaging or whatever it was, it showed the prostate, you know, with issues. Everything else is fine, just kind of grayed out, and the whole body from the head down. It's just an outline of a gray image in the bones and everything else, except right here in the solar plexus sternum area. That was lit up pretty bright, just pretty decently big and bright right there, and wasn't just like showing a crack or anything. The whole thing was just lit up, and it's like, that's kind of weird. But it made me think about that, thinking back. It's like, you know, I don't know what's going on with that. That was just kind of a weird coincidence, thinking about solar plexus and reading that material, and that was, solar plexus was lit up during that imaging. But I can only imagine it was some kind of fracture, and they just didn't catch it on the x-ray. But it looked pretty out of place anyway, as much brightness as was there. So I was like, that's just weird. A few other weird little things going on since started the mentorship. It's kind of odd, but not going to get into it. But the mentorship, it's really good. I'm really liking it. Let me see. Hold on. Here we go. So far, I've created a 3-ring binder. It's a 3-inch 3-ring binder, and this is some of the materials that I've printed out. I've started indexing them of what things are. The Cathara, the solar plexus, mantras, miscellaneous, daily stuff, things like that. Little grids to go over on the back, my daily stuff to do. So it's really good. And then he said last night, it's like, I haven't even seen you the big stuff yet, the big book. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll have to get another binder for the big book. Okay. It's a lot of material, a lot of details. And last night he mentioned, yeah, it needs to stay in a lot of details. You have to get into the details to really understand it. And I like that. I like that a lot. Something else I liked a lot that he said last night was one thing to watch out for later on with this material is ego, because it can give you a big ego, thinking you know all this material, you know how to do all this stuff, and it can really increase your ego. And the first thing I thought was arrogance. I'm like, I get the arrogance trap. I really am going to have to watch out for that, because that's always been my problem, is arrogance. And it's like I've said in some other videos, as long as I'm open, kind, gentle, and honest, I think I can avoid that arrogance trap. So That's going to be my whole goal, and that's something I'm seriously going to have to watch out for. With Phil mentioning it last night, is you know, I guess he's seen some people that have gotten a big ego from learning this kind of material, and that'll be something I have to watch out for too, I'm sure. So I hope he brings it up every now and then. I may actually mention, so Phil, would you mind bringing this up? Make sure that doesn't happen to me and remind me, and I'd appreciate that, because I definitely don't want to fall in that arrogance trap. But so far, yeah, we're still just on chapter 1 of some of this material. Chapter 1, so a little bit here, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I bought out last night. I said, yeah, I mentioned something while we are talking about a particular thing in the material. I'm like, this sounds like this could be a source for gravity. And he kind of mentioned, no, that's much later on, much later on. But it was all flashing through my head. I was getting images and pictures in my head of the way this thing works and these things work. And all of a sudden, gravity started coming into it, and it was like things were moving and flowing. And I went straight to gravity for a while. I didn't even get into time, but it was almost like time was part of it too. It was weird the way it was flowing. But he said that's much later and a whole different kind of thing. So it's like, okay, whatever. But it's interesting. I think it's going to be a good thing. I am definitely in a learning phase with this for sure. I'm a noob when it comes to this material, and I'm liking it so far.